University education is useless.
Take effing action. Put it together. And subscribe to Tom Penn's channel on YouTube now. Yeah, I like it. It's crazy.
So in Asian culture, parents put very high importance on the value of education. Parents want their children to go to good universities and get a degree, and maybe even become doctors and lawyers, and go into postgraduate study. And for that to happen, it brings some kind of pride to the family, right? But I want to share with you what I believe is true, and that is that university education is practically useless. All right? I'm going to prove my point by asking this question. Look at the people around you. All right? Do they really do what they learned in university? So people going to economics, people going to finance, people going to arts, people going to language studies, and after they graduate university, you look at their career, and do you see that they follow what they learned in school? And I would argue more often than not, they are not doing what they learned in school. So what that means is that you spend 4 years, 6 years, for some people, the slow ones, it may take longer. You spend 4 to 6 years going to school, and all that knowledge you acquired, you don't get to use it. You end up doing something else. So is it worthwhile to invest 4 to 6 years of your life doing something that eventually have no benefit to your life? I also want to talk about, I know students that take courses in university that are very heavily theoretical. I'm not saying that they're not wrong. I'm just saying that they're purely theoretical. For example, I know people that take econometrics in university. I think in the West we call it microeconomics, right? The stuff that you learn in that class, econometrics, really heavy on calculus and statistics, just to prove the theory that microeconomics works. Does it really benefit anybody? Do you actually use that information after you finish school and you start a business? Does that information actually help you in any way? And I would guess probably not. And it's like a really hard course, right? Because I actually look at the Vietnamese curriculum. It's a pretty difficult course. There's a lot you need to learn. You need to know calculus, you need to know statistics, you need to be very good at math, and there's tons of reading. But really, does that information help you in any way after you graduate? Again, most likely not. I want to talk about my own experience as well, right? So I am a bit older. I went to university in the 1990s, right? I have to say I'm a little bit gifted. I think I'm smarter than the average person. Went into university, I went into computer science. And the stuff that they teach me in computer science, I already knew. For example, in second year, they were teaching us, hash algorithms, how to write hash algorithms. I was already doing that in high school. I was writing software for software publishing houses, and one of the software that I wrote is a grammar checker. So nowadays, grammar checking software is fairly normal, very, very common. Back in the 1990s, it wasn't. It was actually very complex, and I was one of the first people to write a grammar checking software on the PC. And I used a lot of different algorithms because there were a lot of limitations that I have to work with, because back then computers have very little memory, 640K for the IBM PC. And nowadays computers have huge amounts of memory. Back then we didn't have that, so we have to use a lot of tricks to make things work. And so they were teaching hash algorithms, binary search, et cetera, et cetera. Those things I figured out on my own without anybody teaching me. For me, going through university, I really did not learn very much, right? Going through computer science in universities in Canada, I really did not learn very much. However, I did benefit a lot from my electives. I took electives in astronomy, in psychology, in sociology, in technology implication on society. I think those type of courses actually help me a lot, help me understand the world better than, the computer science, the math classes that, I kind of just like went through them, passed with flying colors without much effort, right? And anything with, writing software, computer science, I pretty much learned it on my own. I really did not need a university professor to teach me how to do it. Like, I can learn that stuff on my own. And I think the ability to learn things on your own is more important than having good grades in university. Because when you finish university, when you get out into society, you have to learn skills. You have to learn things on your own, right? You don't have the luxury of a university professor or a tutor or a teaching assistant helping you out. You need to learn things on your own. And I can say that with software programming, I learned everything on my own. I did not need anybody to teach me. And I think that is a more important skill to have than, having good grades in school. So what is Tom telling you? I'm not telling you to quit school now, especially if you're in your third year or your fourth year university. And let's say you go through like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years of university education. Finally, you get a piece of paper, a diploma, a degree, and congratulations, you are a proud graduate of the University of Economics and Law in Ho Chi Minh City. I don't know the universities here, right? But let's say you are a proud holder of a degree paper, right? And then you go into society. How many people actually look at that? How many people actually ask you, what are your grades in school? And I would say probably nobody. After I graduated university, and first of all, for most part of my life, I'm an entrepreneur. I never worked for anybody, so nobody ever checks my degree paper or my grades in school. But I know that for most people, no employer checks their degree paper or their grades in school. It just becomes irrelevant because employers need skills that will benefit the company, and most often than not, the stuff that you learn in university are not really applicable. So employers don't really look at university degree, diploma, your grades. They don't. So that's one more reason why that university education really doesn't really help you. So what is Tom saying here? Is Tom saying that don't go to universities or colleges, don't spend 4, 5, 6 years in a university and wasting your life? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that if you're in your third year or your fourth year, you already invested 2 or 3 years in university, so you should complete that education. If you start something, you should finish it, right? You do not want to waste it. You should complete your education, spend another 1 or 2 years and complete that degree, right? I would advise you to look at, learning something outside of your core competency. Like let's say if you are a student of economics, right? Most likely that economic degree will not help you. So I would choose some classes, some courses, maybe in psychology, maybe in, accounting, things that are, that would help you in the future. Things that, you can apply, in your life. So I will look at picking some elective courses that would benefit you in the future, not just on your core competency that may never help you. Especially if you're an English lit or you're Vietnamese literature or you're sociology student or your those core subjects do not help you at all. And for those people that are just going into university or have not yet entered university, right? My advice to you is pick something simple and go through university as fast as you can. And the most important thing, as I said before, is the ability to learn things on your own. So develop that skill set rather than, relying on the university or school to teach you things, right? Go through university quickly because it's a time waster, right? Get your degree, make your parents happy, and move on. Make lots of money, focus on your dreams and goals, and maybe make lots of money, put money first, make lots of money, and then you can do whatever you want after you have a lot of money, whether it's to save humanity or to save the whales or save the animals or save the planet, save the ozone layer. I think that's okay. Anything you want, but first you gotta have money in order to do anything meaningful. Take fucking action. Don't spend too much time in school because it's useless, and don't be a fucktard.